Millions of Americans gathered this weekend for hands-off rallies around the country to protest the administration's policies on deportations, mass layoffs, tariffs that continue to cause global economic chaos. But you know who was still talking up his trade war when he spoke to reporters on his plane coming back from a golf trip? Take a look.
I spoke to a lot of leaders, European, Asian, from all over the world. They're dying to make a deal. But I said, we're not going to have deficits with your country. Now, what's going to happen with the market, I can't tell you, but I can tell you our country has gotten a lot stronger. And eventually, it'll be a country like no other. It'll be the most dominant country economically in the world.
Is there pain in the market? At some point, you're unwilling to tolerate this idea of a Trump put. Is there a threshold?
I think your question is so stupid. I mean, I think it's I don't want anything to go down. But sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something.
So it will cost an additional $714 billion to bring shoes, TVs, and all other imports into the United States. And according to experts, low-income households are estimated to lose about $980 annually. Clothing prices predicted to rise 17%. Cost of building a new home will increase. And he keeps talking about how we're going to, build all these factories. How can you build the factories when you put tariffs on all the building products people need to build? People can't build these products like this. What are you thinking?
We don't have the labor force.
No, we don't have the labor force, and I still don't. I've stopped trying to figure out what this.
So my theory on this, Trump believes that the U.S. would thrive from having most of our goods manufactured here in the United States. Personally, I think that's a reasonable take. However, not everything that we use day to day could feasibly be produced here. It's not even kind of true. Maybe if we were the 13 original colonies, this would be sound trade policies. We are not. Forbes, for example, used the example to produce an iPhone purely in the United States, an iPhone would cost about $30,000. There is a reason we are a global interconnected economy, and what we do affects the whole world. And I want to talk about one person who's having an outsized influence on this trade war that has tanked the markets, cost people a lot of money in their retirement accounts already. And it's an individual named Peter Navarro, who's a trade advisor.
That's right.
No relationship. Who's a trade advisor to Donald Trump. I knew him in the first Trump term. Candidly, the smart economic advisors around Donald Trump in the first term would try to keep Peter Navarro out of meetings with Donald Trump because he so often lacked information, preparation, statistics.
So
he would put wrong
changed,
information in front of him. Yes, but the first time there were people like Steve Mnuchin and Mike Pence who could stop him. This time he went in and rocked global markets and is plummeting the wealth of this country. And I just want to underscore again, and of the world. This is not a rich person's problem. This is not just people with a lot of money in the stock market. This will hurt working class Americans harder than anyone. The price of everything's about to go through the roof.
I land in Miami on Thursday night after the show, and there is Air Force One right next to me at the airport because he was in Miami. Yes, that's a picture I took. He was in Miami this weekend at his golf resort in Doral, palling around with the Saudis who were holding their live golf tournament at his golf course and then playing golf and announcing that he was winning. So this is like Nero playing the fiddle as Rome burns. This is Marie Antoinette with a lot less hair and a lot more makeup saying, let them eat cake, right? So the callousness and just, if you voted for him and you think he cares about you, he doesn't. And I was thinking about, okay, why does this surprise us? America, you voted, not me, you voted for a failed businessman. He built up his narrative that he's such a great businessman. He had 6 corporate bankruptcies. He had failed businesses. Trump University.
2 casinos.
Trump Airlines. Trump Vodka. Trump casinos, Trump steaks, Trump Steakhouse in Vegas,
what
Trump
about the
Magazine.
water?
I literally it's only a 1-hour show. I can't continue. But you know who told us over and over again and warned over and over again?
Hillary Clinton.
Can we play the clip?
16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession.
They fell short. It wasn't the middle of next year. We're in April.
Yes, right now.
It's already started.
I mean, I don't have much to add on it. You know, I keep on thinking to myself, why tariffs? Why tariffs? And then I did some research, and Peter Navarro, who was one of the authors of Project 2025, he authored the trade section. It's called The Case for Fair Trade. And he makes it clear that the U.S. has to strengthen manufacturing and defense industrial bases here while improving the reliability of its global supply chains, which requires onshoring production. But as we all know, there's no labor force for onshore production. There's no infrastructure for onshore production. And most manufacturing jobs are being taken over by AI and by tech. So this whole thing is, Peter Navarro is behind it, and he's behind the why, and Donald Trump doesn't really care
Sonny,
at all.
Donald Trump has been talking about tariffs for decades.
because
This is something he vehemently believes in.
He thinks it's going to be the Gilded Age, but what people that really know history know that these types of high tariffs have never worked in the history of our country, and it hasn't worked in other countries as well.
Well, Anna always
But
points
he's
out,
not a student of
points out
history.
here that like Latino voters who voted for Trump may be regretting as they see the way these deportations are playing out. And I feel like the other issue he won on with the economy is now seeing a lot of big money people come out and say, whoa, 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 this isn't what we voted for. Like billionaire Trump supporter Bill Ackman said, what CEO and what board of directors will be comfortable making large long-term economic commitments? Some of this is not just what's going to happen in the near term. Nobody's going to want to come in and establish businesses here because of the chaotic nature.
But because he does, you know, you as you said, it would be nice if you go through and you say, hey, country, we're paying too much. Let's talk about how we can do this better.
Let's
you go through,
negotiate.
let's negotiate. But when you come in and slash and burn, see, that's not smart business. That's just dumb.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's just dumb. And I am always going to try to get my words to be the correct words that don't irritate people, but I'm to the point where I need somebody to explain to me what the hell is going on. Because I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. And if I did this, if I treated my job the way this man is treating this job, I'd be out of work.